Keen. I'm the president of the Sarasota County Bar Association, and it's my honor to interview Judge Maria Ruhl today, who's being honored by the Florida Jurist for their second annual Recognizing Hispanic Excellence celebration. Hi, Judge Ruhl. How are you today?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. So can you tell us a little bit about your family's national cultural background?
I was born in Venezuela. I am the youngest of 7 sisters, and we moved to Florida in 1981. So I've been here since 1981.
And what was your upbringing like?
It was extremely hectic, to say the least. We came here. We came to Florida. Essentially fleeing from Venezuela. The political climate I was 3 years old, so I have very little memory. I know from what I have been told, my parents saw the writing on the wall, and we came here for, better life, better opportunity, knowing that things weren't going well, where we were living. So we came here. I'm the youngest of all my sisters. There's 8 years between me and the oldest, so we were all very close in age. And it was just, it was hectic. Hectic is probably the best word to describe our upbringing here.
Was there anything in your upbringing that you feel helped you to get where you are today?
Absolutely. I think for the most part, anyone's upbringing contributes to who they are today. But for me, it most definitely impacted me completely. It's, growing up, what I recognize now to be very different from everyone else, really absolutely contributed to who I am, to the fabric of who I am. So, having my mom is the one that raised us. My dad, disappeared, but seeing her struggle, being in a country where she didn't speak the language and having to deal with the injustice that sometimes comes with not being a native speaker, and her trying to make it really did impact me. It most definitely did, seeing the times that how she struggled and when she was mistreated, seeing how the color of her skin impacted how people treated her. She's a lot more on the brown olive side than I am. And it most definitely molded me into who I am.
Do you believe that it's important to have cultural diversity on the bench?
I think it is important, but it is as important as diversity in the same respects as in all other areas. In gender, having gender diversity, and especially the bench having judges that come from different backgrounds in their practice. But cultural diversity, it is important because you're a reflection of your community. And I think it instills more trust in the community to see someone that's reflective of themselves.
Are there special challenges that culturally diverse candidates may face when seeking appointment or election to the bench?
Yes. Yes, I think it's going to be different for everyone, but yes, I imagine, I know that there is difficulties that come along with either an appointment or an election in general, and it may make it a little tougher if you also have to deal with being of a different race or nationality.
What motivated you to become a judge?
Well, the only thing I ever wanted to be since I was very little was a lawyer. And I'm a pretty determined individual once I set my sights on something. And I didn't have any lawyers in my family. I didn't know any lawyers growing up. But when I became a lawyer, well, actually, while I was in law school that I interned for in the Southern District, is what exposed, it was my first exposure to judges, to federal judges. And I absolutely loved the federal system. I loved the people that I was working with. It impacted me greatly. And it was then that I just saw a different part of the practice of law. And it was something that I hung on to. It wasn't as if I said, hey, I'm going to be a judge. There was a part of me that thought, well, I surely could never be these people that I see around me. So I kind of filed that away in the back of my mind. And eventually there's something within, probably a little bit before I decided to run to be a judge, is probably where a renewed interest was sparked. I just thought it was something I could do. I believe there's a lot of lawyers that want to become a judge in that it's the natural progression. And, what do you do after being a judge? What's the next step? So there was a little bit of that, but I just thought it was something that I could do and that I wanted to do.
When you were a little girl, what made you decide you wanted to be a lawyer, since you hadn't spent a lot of time around them?
What I can recall, the memory that really sticks with me was, as a child, as most, I would imagine, a lot of Hispanic children, when you have parents that don't speak English, you're used as a translator. So you're 5, 6 years old and you're translating conversations that really a child has no business translating, and you're exposed to a whole lot more. And I know that now. I didn't know that then. So there was a time that my father at the time had taken me to be his translator at an IRS. What I recognize now was probably an audit, but it was something, I can't remember the specifics of it all, but where I left feeling, wow, it's only my father and me, and there's a lot of people in the room. It felt very unfair. It felt we were on unequal footing. And there was always a mention of needing an attorney. And then there was other conversations that I was involved in that I remember having to translate to my father, that he really should have a lawyer involved. And those are my earliest memories of wanting to be a lawyer. It's like, hey, if I was a lawyer, I could really be part of this conversation and understand and really help, one of my parents. I mean, that's where it was born.
Aside from a good education and a strong work ethic, what are essential qualities that you believe are important for judges to have?
I would have to say being a good listener, being a good learner. Just because you become a judge doesn't mean you stop learning. If anything, you learn more than ever before. You have to continue learning. You're not ever faced with the same, at least in my opinion. Every situation is different, especially when you rotate divisions. You have to continue learning. You have to keep yourself apprised of the changes in the law. And I think we all understand that, but you have to keep learning about the people around you. You have to keep learning about how to be more effective. you have to continue to be a student. And more important, I believe, is being a better listener than you are a speaker. You have to not just hear people, you really have to actively listen to see what they're going through and what they're saying, because every case is so different. Every person that comes in front of you is so different, especially when you have pro se parties. If you don't have the ability to listen, what good, or being an active listener, what good is it for the judge? You're ignoring the needs of the community that's coming before you, and we're public servants, and you really have to serve the people that are coming in, and it starts with listening to them.
Do you have any role models?
I would have to say that there is no greater role model to me than my mom. And as we get older, I think I'm sorry.
No, it's fine.
I think as we get older, we have a newfound respect for our parents, your mom, your dad. For me in particular, it's my mom. How you come to a country without speaking the language and manage to have 7 children, not just one, 7 children who become professionals and successful, is astounding. Statistically, I want to believe it's probably impossible. I don't know how my mom did it. I have no clue. But if I had just a percentage of the strength that she did, it would make me just as successful. She's just an amazing, amazing individual.
Judge Ruhl, is mentoring younger attorneys something you believe is important to do?
Absolutely. I think doing anything to help younger attorneys, interns, it's very important. You have to be accessible to others. We all need help. I mean, we all need mentors, and who better than the judiciary to new lawyers or to young lawyers.
Did you have any important mentors in your legal career when you were starting out?
I was fortunate. I feel I was very fortunate in that the people that I was employed by really took care of me like a daughter, and not just as a lawyer, but in most jobs I don't want to say most, in a lot of the jobs that I had, I was so fortunate to find someone who really kind of wrapped their arms around me and wanted to help me. I never understood. I always just accepted things, but I really appreciate it now. And I'm thinking, well, sometimes it's because they saw I didn't have, I wasn't from a 2-parent household, or they saw that maybe I was they saw something that I didn't, and they gave more to me. They helped me more, they led me more, they guided me more. They really went out of their way to help mold me. And you need that. Some young lawyers may need that more than others, but in general, I think it's good for anyone.
Judge Ruhl, thank you so much for taking the time to allow me to interview you today.
You're welcome.
And congratulations on your honor.
Thank you, Ms. Keene. I really appreciate this, and it's an honor, and it's really overwhelming. But thank you.